In the process of trying to make this video, I have received a very large table from my backyard, cleaned said table, gotten animals dinner, and done an insane amount of things. So I forgot where I was, so I'm just starting this over again. How is that for a welcome back? Anyway, hi, I'm Spin Pixie, and I'm returning to my channel. I haven't done a video for this channel in quite some time, and so I wanted to update you guys as to where I was, where I've been, what I've been doing, things like that. So, where have I been? Well, I have been taking a break from making videos because, as my grandma used to say, sometimes you have to shut your mouth and open a book. So that's pretty much where I've been. I've been doing a lot of studying and refocusing my energy on my occultist path. When I came into contact with the occultist path, the first time, I was probably about 18 or 19, I believe. I think, yeah, I was probably about 18 or 19. And when this path came into focus for me, my friends' relatives were very generous in their information. And so I tried to be very respectful of that. And basically, when you have people, especially who are old school, you can't come off like a yappy puppy and try to ask all the questions before they have a chance to answer anything. So I figured, okay, well, I'll just shut my mouth and take in what I can take in, and if he asks if there are any questions, I'll ask my questions, but if not, I don't want to be disrespectful. And I know the mark of a good student is to ask questions, but it's a little bit different when you're dealing with older generation witches. Because I didn't want to offend, but I didn't. So if he asks if there were questions, and I can remember all the questions, because when we were going over certain things, I was really young and very new to this kind of study. This was very mind-altering stuff, because it was very different than the Silver Raven Wolf stuff or the Scott Cunningham stuff. Not that there's not important information to be gained from that stuff, but this was just very different. This was a lot of heavy, heavy stuff. This was Eliphas Levi and Aleister Crowley and Yeats. We studied little Yeats, and we studied Mathers. All these different people who basically spoke in Old English, which often makes me feel like a 2-year-old trying to understand an encyclopedia. It's really hard to, especially then, it was really hard to just understand everything and not want to ask every single question that I could fathom to ask. So, after this point of study was over, I was able to attend the Feast of the Book of the Law with the Sacramento Order of one of these groups, and wow, was that a great time! And I learned a lot. I paid attention and observed a lot, but I still had so many questions, and I felt that unless the elders said we could ask, I didn't want to step on toes. So, I guess they figured, it was kind of a combination of they figured we would ask questions, and at the same time, you know, I was waiting for them to let me ask questions. So, at the end, they're like, wow, I'm surprised that you don't have any questions. I'm like, you have no idea how many questions I actually have. I just didn't want to be rude. So, I was able to go through that point and study what I could, ask the questions that I needed, but I needed to put it into a way that I could understand, relate, and make it resonate. So now I'm in a point where I wanted to go back to that part of my path and just do it again with a new perspective and knowing that I know much more than I did back then. Just restudying and relearning certain things. So that's pretty much what I've been doing. I have been reading a lot and journaling a lot and just studying. Just studying. When I am traveling, I'm studying. When I'm working, I'm studying. It's just become a really big thing for my daily life to be studying what I want to learn. So that being said, that's pretty much where I've been. And I will hopefully have some really interesting videos to come for you guys in the future. Hopefully meaning I hope you guys will be interested in this stuff, because it's very different than some channels. Not a whole lot of people focus on the occultist path, because there's just so much. It's a very wordy path. A lot of philosophy in this path. So my goal is to try and break it down in just a straightforward language so people can get it, because it takes a lot of deciphering sometimes to get certain things, especially if you're reading Levy, because damn. Anyhow, one of the things that I wanted to go over in this video is one of the last videos I did for the biophilic alternative. Now, I'm still subbing for Lisa the Pagan. I'm subbing on Thursdays, and you can check us out every day of the week. Mostly every day of the week somebody posts a video. And then we have some great witches over there. And so, yeah, this is a really awesome channel that we have a lot of awesome witches a part of. And so, take a look at it, check it out. So anyway, as I was saying, one of the last things I did for the biophilic alternative was speak on this new path working that I'm going to be doing involving the Tree of Life. Now, what started this path work is really wanting to understand the different stations of the Tree of Life and make it resonate with me. Well, I happened upon this YouTube channel called Speech in the Silence, and they do a lot of hermetic focused podcasting. And one of I don't know if it's a segment that they have or a sub-podcast that they do, it's called Living Thelema, and it is hosted by Dr. David Shoemaker, and I believe he is a behavioral psychologist. I think that's what he does. He's a behavioral psychologist, which gives him a lot of insight and a lot of fresh perspective on Thelema. And he did this show called Advice from the Tree of Life. And I'll post all these links in the notes. And he did this wonderful thing where it speaks about the Tree of Life in regard to our path and our day-to-day lives. So he talked about, Malkuth, which is the bottom of the Tree of Life, the beginning station. And the goal, basically, of the human path is basically to try and get from Malkuth to Kether. On your journeys, advancing in knowledge, advancing in wisdom, so that you take yourself from being the fool in Malkuth to being of the Godhead, of being the understanding of Kether, which is enlightenment. So I'm going to go over the notes that I took from his podcast, and if you want to catch the full podcast, I will have the link to that direct podcast in the notes as well. So basically, I took these notes because I want to begin examining where I am, where I have issues in my path. And so I took these notes so that I could go back and relate them to me in my everyday life and kind of highlight the particular Sephiroth that I want to look at for that particular week or however long I need to focus on that particular station of the Tree of Life. So, for example, when we begin the journey, we start in Malkuth. And if we are living at our full Malkuth, if we are enjoying our path, if it is a balanced path, these are the signs of a Malkuth being lived to its fullest. Again, taken from the Living Thelema podcast. And so, the first is the Practictioner is the pinnacle of health. So staying in shape, getting your exercise, doing yoga, doing things that make you healthy. Taking care of your hygiene, taking care of your environment, all the things that keep you a healthy person. The second sign of Malkuth in its fullness is being pleasurably immersed in the world of sensation. So taking in the sights and smells of, your path, enjoying those things that bring you pleasure, the scent of flowers, the scent of the morning air, taking pleasure in your senses, in your ability to see the beauty of everyday life, to smell the roses, to feel emotion, all those types of things. Practicality, would be the third sign, being, making sure that your day-to-day chores are taken care of, making sure that you are doing those practical things, living wisely, not extending your means, things of that nature. And number 4 would be finding the divine in all forms of physical manifestation, which is basically finding the beauty in everything, in the people that you meet, in the animals that you come across, and even people that you don't necessarily care for or get along with, finding some sense of divine in them as well. Now, if we are living at Malkuth in its shadow side, then we are overindulgent. Maybe we overeat, oversleep, overexercise, overspend, over pretty much anything, is being on the shadow side of Malkuth. Laziness due to excessive pleasure focus and a lack of self-discipline. So basically only taking the time to enjoy things that are pleasurable. I equate this particular bullet point with sitting on the couch and playing video games and just totally having fun and not taking any time to exercise or to go out into the world and water a tree or, harvest crops or do anything, worth doing. Just being totally focused on what makes you happy and nothing more. Number 4 would be being overly rigid, having overly rigid expectations of day-to-day tasks, or being too detail-focused and not being able to adapt if a plan goes awry. So these are the people who are super, super, super structured and who cannot adapt if something does not go exactly according to plan. Number 4 would be distraction of spiritual aims due to absorption and practicalities. So basically just allowing life to get in your way of your spiritual focus and your enlightenment. And I'll go ahead and I'll do one more, which is Yesod. And I'm going to post the full notes that I've taken from this podcast in the comment section so that if you want to embark on this pathwork, you can do so as well. So Yesod, if we are living in Yesod to its full capacity, there is vitality, virility, and fertility, and an unblocked energy flow within ourselves and within our lives. Unconscious contents in the mind are not unduly represented. The unconscious and conscious link are not hindered. And you are not suffering, and you're not stuffing down feelings or emotions. Basically, you're not projecting your shadow side. You're not stuffing down your anger. You're getting it out in a healthy way. You're expressing yourself to your full capacity when need be. You're, just living a life that is balanced and focused on being healthy and with your expression of self and your ideas. You're not hampering the ideas you get because you might think that they might be bad. You're just letting it all come out. You're expressing yourself and being creative. And number 3, you're self-aware of all your unconscious patterns and trying to overcome, let's say, bad habits. Trying to overcome the things that don't allow you to project yourself in the manner that you would like to be perceived. Now, if you are living Yesod on its shadow side, you might have a sexual obsession, being obsessed with an unrequited love or being obsessed with yourself. You might be aggressive, whether toward your partner or people in general. You might have a spat where you're just not wanting any kind of relationship, whether it be a physical relationship or personal relationship, kind of just keeping yourself to yourself. Excessive projection of unconscious contents, i.e. projecting the shadow self. Management of life force and energy depletion. So you're not taking care of yourself. You're overly tired. You don't have a lust for life. There's no want to really exist. Probably depression might occur at this stage. Also, so number 6 would be codependent. This might be on a substance or a person. So you might have a friend that you want to be around all the time and you can't make decisions on your own. You're just very, very codependent on people. And like I said, this also may be a drug or alcohol dependency, things like that. So these are just some of the stations that he's done, and I will go ahead and put the rest of the notes in the comments, in the notes section, so that you guys can read it and embark on the path working if that's what you so choose. I tend to look at these stations and pull out basic tendencies in my life that I need to overcome, that I need to work through. So that's what I'll be doing. This is my new path working that I'll be taking care of. And it is hell degrees and I'm starting to sweat. This is gross. So this is going to be an interesting path working for me. And I hope to really, it's kind of a way of doing shadow work as well. So I hope to get through all of this and take my time with it and really examine things and change the things that I would like to change. So that's pretty much what's going on with me. That's where I've been and what I'm up to. So I will see you guys soon, and I will have more videos and stuff like that. So, by the way, it is summer solstice, so I do want to wish you all a blessed Litha, and hopefully you have something amazing planned. And I will see you soon. And until I do, many blessings. Bye-bye.